Getting started, and there we go. Alright. Up and running once again. Welcome back, everyone, to the Internet Motor Racing Championship. Race number 12 in total, I believe. Chase race number 2 here at Chicagoland. 5 races to go in the season, 4 to go in the playoffs to determine who will make it to Homestead. 120 laps on tap, and definitely a much bigger field. Some really big names here. This should be a lot of fun to watch. Joining me once again for the second week in a row, same team. We got Blake Warren once again.
Hey everyone, glad to be here and ready to see a little bit more oval racing after a wild week at Watkins Glen.
Indeed, and I think a lot of these guys are a little bit relieved at that too. And man, the myth, the legend, back once again, Seth Cole.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Yeah, looking forward to a good one here tonight. Long one, and mile and a halfs are sometimes known for fuel strategy races, so this could be a very interesting wild card race in that regard, as far as who can make it in that final four.
Amen to that. I mean, we got 120 laps on tap, like I said. Pit window, we heard from Natan Amoedo a little bit earlier, is about 32 laps if you push it. Tires are going to be a big name in this, though, as far as keeping them cool, because tire temps are way up there for a lot of these guys. So, yeah, a lot of question marks that will be answered here within the next probably hour and a half or so. Let's see, coming into this race, of course, Roger Ray is locked into Homestead with that victory. Just has to make the minimum number of starts for these next few weeks. Aside from that, right now, currently above the cut line are Austin Ogo, Dylan Schwallenberg, and Tyler Mallon, with Natan Amoedo currently 8 points out of the final 4 as it stands. But of course, we got 4 races to go, including this one. So that's probably going to change a lot. Or who knows? Maybe we'll see a non-playoff driver get it done, which we do have quite a few of them in this one. Really quickly though, so that I stop talking for a moment. Seth, would you like to run down the top 5 starters?
Yeah, so we got Austin Ogie, you mentioned above that cut line. Had a wrecked race car last week at Watkins Glen. He still brought home in a top 5 position, starting on the pole position. Will Goss in the 29 beat was outside, so we'll see if Will, as a non-playoff driver, can maybe pick up a win here tonight. Hasn't won since the exhibition race to start the season back at Ram Ranch. Liam Tingley, good qualifying effort for that 0-3, so he'll be on the inside of row number 2, alongside of Dylan Schwallenberg, who was another big player in last week's race at Watkins Glen and comes in a good position in the points. Jovan Anderson in the 93 is going to complete that top 5.
And if I may go ahead and take over, starting 6th is Shane Sides in the number 2 machine, Dunn LaPrade in the 74 Tide Ride, Natan Amuedo in the 36 Nesquik Ford Mustang, Roger Ray, last week's winner, starting 9th, and then number 10 in position 10, Dejan Weeks on the outside looking in, currently sits 9th place in the points.
And sorry for accidentally calling you Shane there. I have no idea why I did that. Rest of the field, Sean Ryan back again, and his only his second start of the season. Robbie Gilbert in 12th, and Alexander Gonzalez in 13th. Both those guys, and Dejan Weeks needing a little bit of good fortune to try and help out their point situations. Otherwise, Tristan Allen wraps out the drivers who took laps. Felipe Teixeira back once again. Tyler Mallon starting in 17th, also a playoff driver. Currently, points-wise, is in. Henry Nova, Cody Lamas, and Jeff Dixon round out the field. Cole Baker, maybe. I don't know if he's actually starting or not, as we have just kicked it to the race session. Velocity, good to see you in chat as always, man. Golly, you and I need to catch up at some point or another. It's been way too freaking long. Like we said, pit window at about 30, maybe 32 laps if you stretch it. which puts it right in the marginal range for a 120 lap race to make it a 3-stopper. So, what do you guys think is going to be the strategy as far as how they're going to play the fuel versus tire balance?
Seth, by all means, you go ahead first, bud.
I think that you're going to have some of those guys that are going to go a little bit outside the box in their strategy and try and make it on 2 pit stops. I think that they'll try and stretch it, because something that I noticed when I turned a couple of laps out there is you can only really go hard maximum of 10 laps before you really start to feel the tire heat build up in not just the right front but also the right rear tire, and the car just does not want to turn. So with all that off the throttle time, perfect opportunity to clutch, especially on corner entry. So I think you're going to see drivers try and avoid the amount of time it takes to come down pit road and make a pit stop and make it a 2-stop strategy rather than the projected 3. There will be those, though, that will go with the 3, and they'll try and gain as much time on the track as they possibly can.
My
in between those
experience
3
on
pit
this
stops.
track is that while it is very much the case as many other 1.5 speedways, that you do need to kind of stick it down to the bottom. The middle to outside groove can work as a way to get around this track. The big problem is just there is a constant sway between the car running tight and running loose. You have to get it right on your marks. Push it too hard, tire heat builds up, anything of that sort, car's going to go straight into the outside wall. You let off too much and you arc it too deep into the corner, well, back end's going to slip out and you're going to go plowing into the outside wall, rear end first. So definitely a very difficult track, and with how bumpy it is and the surface being abrasive as all can be, it's going to be a crazy race here for 120 laps at Chicagoland.
It's going to be a fun one at that. I do apologize to everyone. Had a little bit of a lag spike there. May have been why you saw all the cars disappear for a moment and Seth suddenly stopped talking. So that was on my end. Apologies for that. Hopefully that does not happen again. Xfinity. Pace car pulls down Ogo and Goss, leading them to the green flag. Of course, we do have one restart at our disposal if something should happen early on. But off and running, though, at Chicagoland. 5 races to go in Season 10.
And we got to keep an eye on the 03. There's a little bit of blinking warping going on with him. Hopefully it doesn't cause an issue for a lot of these playoff contenders.
Had that connection problem the entirety of practice and qualifying as well. Was actually running behind him in practice, and he no sooner disappeared, reappeared in my race car. So yeah, definitely don't want that to happen to a playoff contender this early on in the race.
You just saw that happen right there. Jovan Anderson's looking at that, maybe having a little bit of flashbacks to Homestead from last season with the 33. That's not something that he wants to. That's not something that he wants to remember, but. I would definitely look at that 93 as being the big spoiler possibly for this race, being a non-playoff driver, but really, really skilled at these types of tracks. Probably had a great shot to win at Charlotte, but obviously just didn't quite play the laps correctly. But now looking underneath the 03 maybe, and going to get underneath the Roger Ray. Yeah, big dive.
That's risky there on the part of Roger Ray, too. You can run down that apron, and it will gain you maybe 1 to 2 tenths on the car that you're battling, but then you're responsible of safely merging back up into turn 1. And one thing that I've noticed these drivers doing in practice is they want to pretty much put their car right up against that outside wall to be able to arc it deep into turn 1. You don't really get that much of an option when you're way down there, midway down the front straightaway.
Something I want to point out to everyone is, well, it's not exactly universal, but it's just something to know. Minus Dejan weeks, I think. No, it is the case. Keep an eye on, in terms of banners. Some cars have red banners on the rear. Some cars have just the red banner on the front. Some have just red banners where the name piece is. But if you see red in that roof area, that is a playoff contending driver. You see black and white only, they are not a playoff contender.
Yeah, so you see the first place runner, Austin Ogo, with the red on the roof of his machine. Will Goss is black on that side, so not a playoff contender, but still also looking to maybe be a a pretty big spoiler in this one, running really well in second at the moment. Schwallenberg, also a contender, and then Joven, who is not, and Shane Sides, who is. So a pretty good mix up here in the top 5. Pretty much split right down the middle as Liam Tingley starting to drop way back. Don't know if that's voluntary or not based on the lag, but they are really stacked up behind the 2 right now.
And one thing that I'm noticing here, and right there, you cannot see it when they go into turn 3, but when you get into the race car, there's actually a bump over there in the entrance to turn 3, and it makes the car want to bounce in the air a little bit and affects the ability to turn the race car. And so side-by-side battles, the longer we get into this run over in the turn 3 vicinity, it's going to be interesting to watch if the car on the inside can actually keep it down there or ends up hitting that bump and possibly having the car start getting tight on them, pushing up into the car that they're battling with.
Definitely looks like the outside line might be not the best place to be, at least at the moment, because we saw the 03 drop back when he got up there, and then Shane Sides as well fell 3 positions once he got shuffled to the outside. So that's going to be something to keep in mind. Looks like the inside's going to be where you want to be. Top 3, though, pretty much in their own zip code right now. A good, let's see, looking at the scoring at the moment, a good almost full second ahead of everyone else. Schwallenberg getting a little bit closer to the 29. But as this goes on, are they pushing their tires too hard? Or are they playing it right? That's something that we'll just got to find out.
Caution is out. It's Sean Ryan off turn 4.
And rear end destroyed on the 42 and only his second start of the season. Had a quiet showing at Rio. Unfortunately ended up DNFing from that one. As we'll go ahead and take a look and see what caused the first caution of the race. Robbie Gilbert to the inside of the 42. Oh, it just came up that little bit. Sean Ryan maybe came down just a smidge. That looked like just kind of one of those racing deals going for the same piece of real estate.
Take note, it was over in turn 3.
And yep, turn 3, like you said, with the car on the inside, maybe pushing up just that little bit. We're going to get another angle of it here. And that may have been a little bit of what happened to the 69, who, if that is going to be a strike on him, which I'm not sure. I mean, he didn't move up that much, but if that is a strike, that is not what he needs. He needs some really good fortune as far as getting points.
69 actually did claim the wreck, so he will get an EOL penalty.
All right. Well, good gentlemanly thing to do there. As everyone on pit road, no surprise, after 10 laps.
Blake, I want to pick your brain here for a moment. Looking at like previous tracks here on the schedule to kind of compare to tonight, the only one I can really see was when they ran Las Vegas back at the beginning of the season, and Dylan Schwallenberg led 70 of the 120 laps there. Does that give him a little bit of an advantage coming into tonight, a track of similar configuration, or you think that due to the fact that Las Vegas was daytime conditions and Chicago was nighttime conditions, it kind of wipes the slate clean, puts everybody on a level playing field?
I can't really say. The track is a little bit wider without a doubt, but very well some of the same style of approach that you would use to get around this track may be applicable.
So definitely keeping an eye on that 51. We saw him reeling in the 29 as that stint was, or just before that caution came out. So keep an eye on him, keep an eye on the 93. But right now the top 2 looking pretty familiar. Austin Ogo and William Goss have not moved at all from where they started. First and second it looks like coming to the restart here. And indeed they are, up through the gears once again. 110 laps to go. And yeah, this race is definitely a lot longer than maybe some that we've had in the past. We'll see what kind of run the 29 might get on the outside. Actually, Schwallenberg is going to clear him, so now 51 up to second. And Roger Ray up to 4th.
Roger Ray has the luxury of being able to be somewhat aggressive here tonight. The only driver right now that we know would be locked in to the Final Four in the season finale with his win last week at Watkins Glen. So He's one of those drivers that can kind of go outside the box in terms of strategy, be a little bit more aggressive in terms of battling for a position, whereas all these other drivers are kind of in self-preservation mode, making sure that they keep their playoff hopes alive.
93 and 29 going side by side here. That is for the 4th position. Great bite off there for Goss. On the outside, Jovan Anderson does not go down to the apron. They get a little bit close, but Anderson will get that spot. A couple non-playoff drivers there. Still looking to make some noise, though.
Got a couple of drivers that struggled last week at Watkins Glen, looking for some comeback runs. 74 of Dunlap Prad right there. The inside of Will Goss did not have the finish he was looking for, as he finished way off the pace in last week's race at Las Vegas. And another driver back there, Dejan Weeks in the 10. He ended up, I believe he had internet connection problems last week and finished multiple laps down, and did not get the finish that he was looking for. So you got a couple of drivers here early on in the playoffs that are kind of marching back on the comeback trail.
Definitely giving it a shot. I mean, last week was really, really unfortunate for LaPrade. Had a really great run going, and then just got in a bit of a skirmish with the 51. I mean, we heard from him. There were no hard feelings there. That's just how racing goes sometimes. But obviously, really put him in a position that he did not want to be in. Now, currently running in 5th place. Maybe he needs another position or two to maybe help himself out. Then you also got Amoedo there in the 36. Also just kind of ran just quietly, didn't really do much. I think did emerge.
Oh, we got a wreck on the first straightaway.
And yeah, that looks like Jeff Dixon in the back.
Got doored by Robbie Gilbert. You also got Felipe Teixeira, who is spinning back there in the 16.
Caution will fly
the
once again.
69 might have just spun it. I think he realizes that was his second incident. He might be possibly parking here.
Still rolling at the moment, but boy, if that is the second for Gilvin, that is going to be extremely detrimental. I mean, it was already detrimental losing the track position that he did, but we're going to take a look here and see what the case might be. Coming off the corner. Didn't quite get the run that he wanted, and ooh, Dixon.
Well, I was going to say, looking back at it now, I think the 69 held his line. I think the 30 came down, pinched him.
I think the 30 maybe was anticipating that the 69 would go down to the apron. The 69 did not and simply held his line, and 30 wasn't ready for it and just kind of dorned himself off of him. And in the checkup, it looked like Teixeira may have.
Now, the reason why I originally thought it might have been on Robbie Gilbert was he was actually in trouble all the way back in the entrance of turn 3. Was battling to the inside of Liam Tingley, and I was noticing he was really yanking on the wheel, turning it to the left all the way through 3 and 4, and I thought maybe he was trying to gather the race car back up onto the straightaway, which led to the contact. But no, on further review, definitely looks like Jeff Dixon crossed down about a lane and a half and initiated that contact.
Just saw the onboard shot from Tristan Adams, number 27. And just how close he came to getting collected, and that great driving job, though, to check up just in time. But
30 has claimed the incident.
All right, and yeah, I mean, that's what it looked like just from here, but again, we're just kind of calling it how we see it. Looks like, I don't know if I was on that replay too long or not, but looks like everyone stayed out, question mark?
No, they all pit.
Oh, they did all
down
pit.
Pit road.
Okay.
They're doubling up here, but I believe we have one to green signal. So they'll go around another time. But I just want to say personally to the drivers of IMRC, a big thank you. So far, 17 laps and only 2 cautions. As of last night, in 2 league races that I had to do, one on Friday at Bristol, one at Martinsville last night, I had to sit through 62 cautions for over 300 pacing laps. So nice to see some long green flag runs here.
What the heck? Oh,
we set records. We had a record for most cautions in FRN broadcast Friday, and we snapped it on Monday night. So, it's been quite, or Sunday night rather. So it's been quite a weekend.
Holy smokes! I'm not gonna ask what league that is because we will not say that on the air. Although I will go back to find out then. Oh man, I mean to anyone who might be new to watching to watching these, Seth Cole, broadcaster over on Flat Out Racing Network, along with a number of other guys. That operation, of course, put on by Seth and Matthew Rodriguez. Definitely go and give them some love. Check them out. They do way better than me.
Hey, and if you come over and it's a caution fest, Scott Rankin will sing karaoke for you. He did it last night.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome. And you said that was at Martinsville?
It was Martinsville.
I'm not surprised. I think Full
My love for
Velocity
short
had
tracks is going down by the day.
I think Full Velocity Racing Network had a similar deal a while back. Another great broadcaster on the iRacing side of Full Velocity Racing Network. Definitely check them out too. Back to green here though at IMRC. I am plugging my competitors pretty much. Yeah, they're not my competitors. I got nothing on you or them. We're just doing this to have fun. Ooh, Roger Ray. A little out of shape.
Not only side-by-side warp, but also drifting up the track.
Yeah, he got a little out of shape there, but keeps it going straight. But Oko and Schwallenberg is saying thank you very much. I'm going to head off here myself. He's still really loose. Is T84. That's going to
Got a car
open
in
the
the
door
wall
for
off
him.
turn 4. That was Robbie Gilbert.
Oh man, a few guys really hitting hard coming off of the transition there as the 03 once again still with those minor warp issues. Wrong place, wrong time, and that is going to be a major problem. But I've been keeping my eye on this 93. Notice how quickly a gap opens up between him and everyone else. I don't think that has anything to do with speed. I think that is solely him just trying to keep those tires as cool as humanly possible, which of course is extremely difficult, and you see how much of a stack up that kind of causes behind him. But if he keeps doing it like that, that could definitely pay dividends later.
Right now, Austin Ogo's in the best position out in front for more than one reason. The main reason right now is the fact he's out there in clean air. So he's not really having to worry about the aero push that most of these other drivers are feeling. You especially feel it over in turn 3, where the car does not want to rotate through the center, and you have to wait about a half second later than you would expect to get back to the throttle. Otherwise, the thing just goes straight, will not turn off of 4.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me a good number of times at tracks like this, so I can attest to just how annoying that can be. But yep, everyone trying to settle down into a rhythm now. We'll see how long we can get going on this run. With when they pitted, we would expect the pit window to open around lap 45, 46, 47 range. As Amoedo now gets by somewhat of his teammate, you could say, Don LaPrade. This guy's a little bit of an alliance between those two. And now Amoedo looking for another spot, looking to take the top 5 away from the 93, and will do so. Of course, we remember the race that those two had at Dover, as I think our other broadcast partner has returned.
Yes, I have. Certainly a crazy race going on thus far, and starting to get a little strung out as we continue clicking laps.
Right on. First off, ooh, I see spin marks up in 3 and 4 there.
As well.
Teixeira with a damaged rear end. We're going to take a look really quick here on stream.
It was the 16.
Must have been a self-spin. Otherwise, caution would have come out. Just behind Jeff Dixon. And, oh my gosh, another near miss for the 27. But, yep, no contact. Except for the wall. So, we remain under green.
A big gap right now forming between the 51 and the 84 there. Almost a second.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting to see, but again, it's like I was saying, in terms of the 93, that might be by design, because either looking for clean air or just trying to save as much as possible, and then maybe trying to reel them in toward the end of the stint. Although I will admit that last lap, it was a good few tenths difference. We'll see what it is this time. 29.9 for both of the front runners, and also for Roger Ray as well. So looks like he really gathered it up nicely there. Will Goss right on his tail. Something I've always noticed about Goss, especially at tracks like this, just quietly, just really does well. I remember at Homestead in the championship race, me and Joe Rutkowski were both having a hoot at, like, where the heck did he come from toward the end of the stints? This came from out of nowhere and was suddenly running the top 5. Now looking for third on the 84. Not going to be able to make that work.
I think it's just time has kind of gone on. I mean, Goss has always been a really good racer, but I think that he's kind of settled down in certain respects. He's always trying to give it his best. He's always trying to give it his all and really put the pressure where it needs to be. But, sometimes a little bit later on, just with how much racing goes on, you just kind of take a little bit of a breath, take a couple steps back, and you're still dominant. You can still do really, really well, but you're not on that freight train push to get up there immediately. You can kind of wait it out and just see how things go.
Yeah, there's been a number of races I've run with Will Goss where the two of us have kind of been on the same type of fuel strategy, fuel saving type strategy. And yeah, Will Goss is one of those drivers that, he'll look ahead and see the car in front of him and doesn't really focus on that position. Instead, he kind of looks ahead towards either the next green flag pit stop or even the checkered flag. You'll look that far ahead in terms of race strategy.
And that might be what he's doing now, because we saw him try to make the move on the 84. He did have a bit of a spell where it looked like he might not even be running at all for the rest of the season. Had a bit of some disagreements with just how things were going, but obviously that's been reconciled and back out on track. It's great to see him out there. Even briefly talk to him, and maybe for one of these final 4 races we might even have him up here in the booth. But that remains to be seen. That will be completely up to him. Still running really well though. Natan Amoedo just passed him for the 4th position. Amoedo looking pretty strong right now, and Dun LaPrade maybe looking to get underneath of Jovan Anderson. That would be for 6th. Tyler Mallon also looking to maybe make some headway here. Currently running 8th, but hanging in there pretty nicely. In that number 18 Intel machine, a freaking beautiful scheme if I've ever seen it. But
I completely agree with. It's kind of crazy. The 18, I kind of would have expected him being kind of more upper there tonight. But as we sit 32 laps in, just I know that probably the long game is what he's going after, but still kind of surprising.
Yeah,
we talked with him.
I totally agree with that. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say we talked with him post-race Watkins Glen, and he said, the tracks that were coming up here for the remainder of the playoffs, he was looking forward to them, felt he would do well. So you may be right, Blake, that he's just kind of taking care of his stuff, not really making a charge to the front right now, but definitely agree with you. Kind of expected we would see him try and be the dominant car of the night here, try and have his car up at the front as long as possible.
And still running back there, but hey, we're only 5 laps into the second quarter of this race, pretty much. It is a long one, so definitely got to be thinking about the long game. Right now, though, I'm actually surprised at just how much the front 2 have been able to maintain or even extend the gap that they have. Because I forget who it was that we were talking to. It was either you, Seth, or maybe it was Jovan that we talked to, where someone said that it seems like Ogo could just flip a switch and just go absolutely flat out, and yet still somehow find a way to save his tires better than anyone else. And that's why he's so strong at these types of tracks. That's why he brought home the win at Boston and Charlotte. And that's why he's out front right now, just consistently clicking off laps within a 100th or 2 of each other.
And right now, with both Ogo and Dylan Schwalmberg running as consistent lap times as they are and having that gap over 3rd place on back, they're certainly putting a lot of pressure on the other playoff contenders to try and get up there into that final 4. Even if Ogo or Schwalmberg don't end up winning here tonight, if they can just finish up here towards the front, 2nd or 3rd place, they came into this race inside of the top 4 as far as the playoff standings are concerned. So, I mean, you're looking right now at probably 2 drivers that, if not win, will probably point their way into the Final 4. And with Roger Ray winning last week, it kind of narrows it then down to all the rest of the drivers potentially battling for that final playoff spot, that Final 4 spot.
That's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And, I mean, we got actually a really good battle going on here from 4th on back. I will just mention that I think tonight could also be really telling of what Homestead could look like, because in terms of maybe tire wear, I would, again, assuming that they're going to use the same version and similar track layout to what they did last year, it's going to be another major tire saving game over at Homestead. So tonight could, oh jeez,
Wow.
93 on the 36. Maybe a little bit of a, hey, I remember Dover.
Definitely was contact, I can tell you that much.
Ooh, trying to fill the gap in front of the 74, barely able to do so. Milan, though, going to have none of that, going to try to make the move on the 74 for themselves. The 36, I think, clipped the flat of the track, washing up, and these guys are all right on top of each other right now. Ooh, boy, now we got the 2 most aggressive drivers now next to each other. This is going to be something to watch.
Hey, you saw that hard battling there with Jovan Anderson and Atan Amiedo, and, you know, obviously, as we've documented, Anderson's not in the playoffs, Amiedo is, but the thing that I love is that you've got these drivers out here like Will Goss, like Jovan Anderson. They're up here, they're battling with the playoff contenders. They're not kind of laying over for them, letting them on by. They're battling with them, and that's the mentality you have to have coming into the playoffs as a non-playoff contender, because, you know, it doesn't matter the fact that they're out there trying to win a championship. You still want to find victory lane.
Oh my gosh, I mean, that I'm sure that the both of you can attest to the fact that that's just the instinct of a driver, right? Just to go out and try to win. And as I think Anderson's car is really starting to come to life here, I am not surprised. More smoke.
Got some smoke on the backstretch.
A sling and move
Tristan
on.
Allen and the 27, I think, might have been that car that spun on the back straightaway.
Real big sling and move there for the 3rd place battle. Yeah, Tristan Allen looks like might be done.
Yep,
I do not see him on track.
Got the wall off of turn 2, spun it all the way down the back stretch, almost to the entrance of turn 3, and now he's pulled his car onto pit road.
Yep, still on track. I'm going to take a very quick look here, because I think that
Now,
we may have green flag pit stops coming up here pretty soon.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's the good news for Tristan Allen, is we got those green flag pit stops coming up, so he might be able to cycle back on the lead lap. The question is just how much time did he lose in the length of that spin, plus the amount of time trying to recover that race car, get it to pit road.
I mean, I will say, looking at that spin, did a good job of trying to keep it out of harm's way. It looks like first gear was a little sketchy there, which actually that might give some insight into what restarts might look like later. As Robbie Gilbert is also on pit road, just managed to cycle back to him as we get back to live shot with a lot of side damage. But Ogo has really pulled away from the 51, and I gotta think that we're probably within 4 or 5 laps of seeing these guys come on down pit road. Ooh, boy, look at this Hornet's Nest, almost 3 wide. From about 6th on back. Guys right on top of each other. You're seeing a lot of the guys who may be struggling a little bit. Oh my gosh. Some guys may be struggling a little bit, other guys who might be in better shape, and now they've all kind of accordioned together. And they are all nose to tail. Roger Ray, Amoedo, there's Gaz. Ray gets the wall a bit. Now that's another question that I'll go ahead and throw at you guys, as we're probably imminent on pit stops. If you have clipped the right side of the car off the wall and you got a little bit of damage from it, is it worth it to fix it?
I would say it depends. If it's a couple of light brushes, maybe 1 or 2 smacks against it. Generally, I've found that if you're hitting it with more of the back end of the car, you'll probably be okay. You don't have to do those repairs. However, if you have got the door caved in really, really badly, it's Chicagoland, so it's kind of a mixed bag, but I would say at least give it a shot and see this early on, how does that affect you? If it doesn't affect you, maybe don't do the repair if you have the same thing happen later on in the race.
Yeah, it's moderate damage, and so if you hit the wall hard enough, it will actually show damage on your machine. If you just brush it, it won't show any damage. So I agree with Blake. I think if you see the damage on the right side of your car, you might want to fix it. I don't really know if it would play all that much of a factor into the aerodynamics as far as the straightaway speed. It might cause the car to get a little bit tighter earlier on a long run, but again, not really sure about that. I mean, really, it's the tires the drivers have to worry about as far as the grip here tonight, and as far as the ability to make it through the corners, not so much how much damage the car has sustained.
There you go, fair point. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because normally when you get that side damage, the car can really start to plow a lot more. And obviously, like you said, that's going to really affect not only how you drive the corners, but then also the tires. And put maybe a little bit more strain on them. Schwallenberg looks like he's starting to really struggle here as we get toward the end of this run. Jovan Anderson going to make the move on him. And Austin Ogo has checked out over 2 seconds now. And Schwallenberg coming down pit road. And Ogo.
That ends Jovan the lead.
Boy. Roger Wright with a great pit entry there, assuming that he didn't speed. Dejon Weeks and Liam Tingley will also come down here on lap 49, taking lap 50 for the leaders. And like you're about to say there, Blake, Jovan Anderson, your leader.
Yep. Now, there was one thing that I did want to talk about real quick, just to what we were talking about earlier. As the 93 and the 18, the 2, and a host of other cars come in, almost contact between the two Scorpius machines of Sides and Goss. Thankfully kept it all together. The one thing that I wanted to say is just in regards to drivers that are in the chase and those that are not contending for the championship, I think there's a bit of a mentality. Certainly drivers are going to be disappointed that they are not in the chase. There are going to be drivers that will be disappointed that they will not be in the Final Four when we go to Homestead. However, I think that there is a very positive way to react to this. If you can go out and you can run well, either just running good in position, going up and leading laps, or even outright winning the race. It's, statistically speaking, it is not common for a non-chaser to win the final race at Homestead, but it can happen. I think that there's a good mentality to go that just simply, hey, I may not be in the chase this year, but look at me, I'm out here, I'm running fast, and you better be ready for me next season.
That's really fair, yeah. I mean, these guys got something to prove, and they want to say, hey, you want to watch out next season. Looks like we've pretty much completed that round of pit stops. Natan Amoino and Jeff Dixon looked like they were the last two to come in that time. So now, that was about on lap 50. So we'd probably be looking at about lap 80 to 85 potentially, as far as the next round, which would still probably be just outside of their window as far as being able to make it on that one last stop. Actually, Cody Lamas was the one to stay out the longest. Was able to lead a lap or two there in the 48. Going a little bit off the beaten path for the driver who came up just a little bit short of making it to the postseason.
Had a driver that had a little bit of an incident coming off of pit road, but there was no spin. Roger Ray, last week's winner, was trying to get around Liam Ingley, who was continuing the warping problems that he's been having, and it actually forced the 84 to merge up onto the track in turn 1. Of course, you have to merge off turn 2. The black flag has been cleared, however, since the 84 was just clearly trying to avoid a wreck there on the inside of 1 and 2.
And a fair call there. So, yep, a good call by the admin, Shane Sides. But Roger Ray has dropped back a little bit. Now up to Looks like it'll probably be 9th, as he just got by the 63. Natan Amoedo currently 8th. That's interesting to see him in relation to some of the others, like I said, who are fighting for those spots. Shane Size, Dejon Weeks, and Amoedo in general, currently 6th, 7th, and 8th, just quietly doing their thing. But I think they need a little bit more good fortune in order to get a little bit closer to that cut line. But so far, still the Austin No-Go show, as we are 5 laps away from the halfway point here at Chicagoland.
You know, it's interesting. Andrew and Blakey both were talking about the fact with Roger Ray winning right now, the other 3 playoff spots currently occupied by Austin No-Go, Dylan Schwallenberg, and Tyler Mallon. Well, I mean, take a look at who our top 3 playoff contenders are right now.
Yep. Right now, 1st, 2nd, and 4th. Might even be 3rd pretty shortly. Mallon kind of hounding Anderson a little bit. And William Goss currently in 5th place. Again, just another quiet run there. But that is definitely not what a lot of these guys want to see. Is those top 3 in the playoffs. Currently the top 3 drivers who are in the playoffs. Currently in the running order. So I think at this point, I think some of them might be hoping for a little bit of maybe late race carnage. Maybe get some cautions toward the end, get up there into contention. I mean, we've seen it happen plenty of times throughout the season. So who's to say it can't happen again? But definitely 2 guys who don't want that to happen. The top 2, obviously.
I will say I'm honestly impressed by how clean everyone has been able to keep it tonight. We've only had a couple of cautions to my knowledge. So all in all, like, it got a little chaotic in the beginning part, but all things considered, everyone has been kind of keeping on, and not really much beyond a little bit of close racing has really gotten in the way of a good race here.
Yeah, so far only... Sorry.
That's just gonna keep happening here too. With this green flag pit stop, we had a big group of about 6, 7, 8 cars from about 7th place on back, I think it was, that were all nose to tail, and even that group now has kind of broken up. And if we get into a second round of green flag pit stops, it's going to spread them out even further, making the likelihood of a caution flag coming out, the odds get slimmer and slimmer. Oh, well, as soon as I say that, Jeff Dixon just got put up into the outside wall in turn 2, and the caution will fly.
Don't we just know exactly what to say?
Man, I'll tell you what, I was a perfect 3 for 3 in commentator curses last night. I'm already 1 for 1 here.
Oh, let's see what happened here. Roger Ray on the inside. There's Dixon, and just a slight push up, like barely even much from Roger Ray. It has not been a good couple starts so far for Jeff Dixon, driver mainly known from the Fast Racing League, coming out here making a couple starts. Actually turned the quickest time in qualifying, but got disqualified. So. Bit of a tough go there, and then got a hit from the 48, so...
yeah, just to show how difficult it is to slow these cars down. I mean, Cody Lama slammed the wall off turn 2 to try and kill his momentum, and still was going quite fast when he hit the 30 machine. So, apparently these cars here tonight don't stop on a dime.
I mean, it's easy to try to jam on the brakes in the corners, but then the back end is going to basically it basically wants to keep going, so there is a high risk of spinning out, which obviously when you're spinning, who knows what the car is going to do. So that's why you want to try to keep it straight. Everyone back on pit road once again. Seth, the next time that we actually want to see a caution, I'll be sure to ask you just to say, hey, this has been going caution-free for a long time.
Yeah, have me pick out a driver.
You continually need to back up the pit stall there.
Allen lost a lap there under that green flag pit stop cycle. And first car 1 lap down will be the free pass machine.
Jeff Dixon has retired, and yeah, that will put the 27 back on the lead lap, I believe. Actually, oh, there we go. Oh, it looks like they already scored his lap. Okay. I got a little confused there. I was like, wait, how is he 5th? I think that the admins have already scored his lap back, so just now back on the lead lap. Jeff Dixon is the first retiree of the night. A pretty long way. Just got to halfway, and just now have we had a driver retire. Felipe Teixeira 2 laps down. The only driver now not on the lead lap who is on track. So 16 drivers now on the lead lap. Starting the second half of the race. Looks like probably getting one to go here.
Yep, we are 1 to green. The 16 decided to stay out. He will now be only 1 lap down.
Okay, so waiver round for the 16. 84 looks like is dropping back. EOL penalty for the 84. Of course, that might be big for him if he causes yet another caution. That will be his night over. 69 also in the same boat. But, of course, for Roger Ray, that won't matter too much, being that he's already locked in, provided that he makes enough starts.
Well, the thing of it is, too, we talked about this back at Watkins Glen last week. There's 5 playoff races here to determine the final 4, which means we have the potential of 5 playoff contenders winning here during this only round of the playoffs. And there's only 4 spots up for grabs at Homestead Miami. So it would then come down to wins, top 5s, top 10 statistics like that. So if you're Roger Ray, even though you've got that win in the bank, you don't want to have the odds that you could end up having 4 other playoff contenders win here, and with a DNF tonight, possibly be down towards the bottom in terms of stats if it comes to a tiebreaker.
That is a very fair point. I didn't really think about that. The very unique format that IMRC has going here, I really like it. But yeah, that definitely opens up that whole can of worms. Should that situation play out.
And here we go. The green flag is in the starter's hand. Green flag out once more. A little bit of a chugging start for the 7, but I think he may be able to... pretty even, but I think the 7's going to beat the 51 off into the corner. 51's going to slide himself right in there. Really, really tight move, but very successful. 2, I think, tapped the wall. All thing is okay, though.
And that got a little bit sketchy there, but yeah, the inside line is definitely where you want to be on the restarts, because with it being the shortest way around. And I'm pretty sure that at least as you're getting back up to speed, you could probably hold it full throttle through 1 and 2. So being on the inside is where you want to be. But now, Schwallenberg, knowing how good Ogo is on these long runs, is he maybe going to try and be a little bit more aggressive here, or is he going to try to lay off a little bit more and try and get him later?
Both drivers are really, really smart in terms of how they want to approach this racing, and with the numbers that they've managed to rack up, both in terms of wins, championships, just solid efforts, I'd say they're pretty evenly matched. I think, though, that... Oh, boy!
I think Schwallenberg may have answered the question for us.
Yeah, I mean, if I was sitting right there, and Ogo, who has had a very, very strong season, all things considered, like, Schwal, if I remember right, he won early on in the season. Ogo, he won about mid-ish part of the regular season. Both drivers are really hungry. I would say the 51's hungrier, though.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Blake. As a matter of fact, Ogo and Schwallenberg, the only 2 drivers that have won at the 2 previous mile-and-a-half tracks. It was Schwallenberg back at Las Vegas and then Ogo at Charlotte.
Yeah, that's a fair point there. I mean, these are 2 of only 3 drivers who have multiple regular season wins. Tyler Mallon was the other one, but Mallon did it on 2 super speedways. Roger Ray, another multi-time winner throughout the entire season. Excuse me, but that was also at Rio and Watkins Glen, so probably the 2 quote-unquote road courses, I guess you could say. Rio maybe borderline on that, but up into the
51
wall.
Touches the outside wall. That's going to kill some momentum there. I would say more than anything, Watkins Glen, with its configuration, with the inclusion of the boot and Rio, I would say that those were the wild card races. No one exactly knew what was going to go in, and I guess Roger Ray's a wild card when it comes to this.
I mean, he definitely got it done at Watkins Glen. Of course, Rio as well, which is what got him to the postseason to begin with.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Speaking of Ray, he got really close to Lamas there. This is, again, toward the tail end of the top 10, which is where most of the battling is taking place.
I don't know if it's mentally getting psyched out or just the pressure to try and catch Ogo or what the case is, but 51 as he slips back to 4th position, maybe 5th.
Oh boy.
Real close at the 29 there. I was gonna say, he
Bounce off the
keeps
wall,
tapping
3-1.
that outside wall. He's gonna have to recompose himself. He's got to get his head back into the game.
And he's also got to cool those tires down. I think that what happened was when we saw him get the wall the first time, I mean, he ran about maybe a groove and a half higher than he has all race through 1 and 2. There's very little grip up there, and that just heats up those tires. I would wager he gained anywhere from 20 to maybe even 40 degrees in those right side tires through those 2 corners alone. Now that car is really tight whenever he goes through 1 and 2. He's got to get himself a little bit back into a rhythm, back up his corners, not get back to the throttle as soon, cool those tires down as best he can, get them back to at least a temperature where he's going to be able to turn through the center of the corner again.
Do apologize for the damage glitch that you're seeing on the 51. The quarter panel's doing some weird stuff there. I am 99.9% sure that is not actually on the car.
Yes, you are absolutely right. If you're seeing roof damage, I am seeing the exact same thing.
I'm seeing quarter panel damage mainly. But then it weirdly fixes itself on the entry of 3 and then it returns again. So yeah, that's
I've been seeing that on
funky.
the 69 car here tonight quite a bit, but he doesn't have any damage either, so
yeah, that's
the glitch
fair.
with this mod, I think.
Yeah, I've had it happen with a number of mods even back in my offline days, so just kind of is a thing. I mean, this game is 18 years old. We gotta cut it we gotta cut it some slack.
Now, I did want to talk about something real quick, and it's just simply kind of as they run at the moment. So if the race were to end at this moment, the way that it would go is that the number 51 would gain 25 points, but the big mover, the 36, he would gain 28 points. Now, that's not much. That's only 3 points, but all the same, going into this race and everything, Natan had 10:37, Roger Ray had 10:40. Now, he was locked in, obviously, but Schwallenberg had 10:45. I mean, it's not a massive discrepancy, but it's chipping away a little bit, and honestly, this is the thing that kind of surprises me most. Ogo and Schwallenberg in this series, as well as Tyler Mallon when he's really, really on it across the season, are practically bulletproof drivers. They usually don't make a lot of mistakes. They're usually up front. They're usually up front leading or taking up laps at least, or very, very close at least. To have things kind of stacked the way that they are now, unfortunately for the 51, I know this race isn't over, but it's going to be pretty tragic if someone starts to crumble now when we are so close to the end.
We've seen that happen a lot too, where a driver that's dominant during the regular season racks up all those playoff points. All of a sudden, it's like something. Oh, I'll hold that thought. We got a caution out here.
Tristan Allen slowed down out of turn 2. Looks like may have been the one at least on the receiving end of whatever has occurred. Going into turn number 1. Liam Tingley on the inside, and oh, the warp right there from the 03. And it has, I guess you could say, claimed its first victim.
This will put Felipe Teixeira back on the lead lap. So all 17 cars that are running will be back on the same lap as leader Austin Ogo. But the thing I was going to quickly bring up here too is it's amazing that a driver will have all that momentum during the regular season. Then we get to the playoffs, and I don't know if they feel added pressure that they have to kind of replicate what they did during the regular season or what, but sometimes drivers, it's like they completely go polar opposite of what we see during the regular season. They can't catch breaks, they get penalties, they get involved in wrecks, and next thing you know, a driver that may have been the primary guy to watch to maybe win the championship all of a sudden finds himself either down as the cut line driver or below the cut line.
Go ahead, Blake.
Well, what I was going to say was, as I was listening into what the penalty report was going to be, was I think that there's a little bit of mentality. Now, it shifts between racer to racer, and it's different. It's different to different. But I think the big thing is this. If you win early enough on, you kind of don't exactly feel the need to push as hard. I mean, you want to be in the top 5, you want to be in the top 3, but you no longer have that monkey on your back in terms of, I need to go out and I need to win this race. And I think sometimes drivers, now whether they be they're just not going to race, but they went ahead and made the minimum amount of starts that were needed, and they have that guaranteed position. I think that sometimes the driver can go on a little bit of a break, just not really stress about it, as one of the cars warped off the racetrack.
The 93.
93, yeah. Jovan Anderson has disappeared
No.
and is not returning. So
Oh, boy.
that might be him falling out of the server. I'm going to say here, Dylan Schwellenberg lost a fair amount of positions there.
He messed up his pit stall.
Yeah, had
He
to back
overshot
up in his pit
had to
stall.
back up.
So that's going to be interesting to see him try to push forward here. And yep, no green. Has trouble for the 93. We'll see if he'll be able to get back in.
Yep, just fell out, just entered back in.
To roll back onto what I was going to say is just that I think sometimes, drivers run the risk if they don't run a race or maybe just ease back and just take it easy until the chase starts. I think that it may take sometimes a little bit of time to get back into that momentum, to get back into that fire. It's not to say that it's impossible to turn the wick up on it, but it can be a little bit of a struggle to regain that composure. And unfortunately, sometimes you just turn the wick on a little bit too late, and it can't be yielded upon.
I mean, yeah, Schwellenberg, I mean, he was dominant early in the season, looked incredibly strong, but just made pretty much the minimum number of starts that he needed, and then throughout most of the second half of the regular season, he just kind of disappeared. We didn't see him very much, obviously now back at it. And has run decently well, however, it seems like on the long run, he just doesn't quite have it, maybe pushing a bit too hard, or maybe just, just like you said, Blake, just trying to get back into that rhythm that he had at tracks like Auto Club and like Las Vegas, the two tracks that he won at early in the season. I am going to shout out, though, to our broadcast buddy, Natan Amoito, suddenly up here in second after just kind of quietly running toward the tail end of the top 10 throughout the run. These couple cautions have really helped him out. Ford's on the front row, and we're back to racing.
A little bit of puff of tire smoke there as I think a couple cars had a little bit of problem getting the grip, but looks like Amoedo maybe going to slot back to 4th. Nah, he's going to fight for 3rd.
Oh, man, and got some aggression going on back here. Again, I'm keeping my eye on that 51 to see just what he's going to be able to do to try to make it work. He's going to go up the middle 3 wide of LeBron and sides. Clears the 74. That's no surprise. That's Schwellenberg style. Ooh, man,
and
big
he's
dive.
Going to slink down to the inside of his teammate in the 18. He's going to take 5th position, it looks like.
Might even be going on Dejan Weeks, potentially. Not quite able to get the run there. Now, again, I mean, we're still a pretty long run here. We got 40 to go. Another pit stop to go. So, patience might be a virtue here. As going for the crossover move on the 10. Oh, man, slide from the 74. Great save, though.
Oh, boy.
Oh, 3 wide.
3 wide battle for 4th.
Schwellenberg backs out of that one. A wise move, potentially. But just like that, Dejan Weeks suddenly in a pretty good position here, up in 4th now as my voice died there for a second.
And, going back to the situation for Natan Amoedo, I mean, provided that he nor Dylan Schwellenberg end up winning during these playoffs, he's got to just basically manage the points gap, and he kind of do that on an average of these next 4 races. Came into this race 8 points behind Schwellenberg, and I mean, if he's able to net gain 3 positions every race over the 51, could easily point his way up into a final 4 position. Right now, running 2 spots ahead of the 51 right now with running third, and Schwallenberg trying to get fourth from Dejan Weeks, and Dejan's not cutting him any slack whatsoever.
No, I mean, Weeks is in a big hole right now as far as making it to the Final Four. Was second to last, I believe, of the 10. So
Yes.
right now, he's a bit desperate to try and make it. Schwallenberg, we're going to try the outside. Ooh, man. Maybe we could look at a little bit of bite.
Desperate. I'm not so certain. I almost wonder if it's actually the position that Dejan Weeks is in kind of helps him in terms of his options. I mean, it's almost kind of a win or bust situation for him right now, so it gives him, the opportunity to have the mentality of battling as hard as he did with these other drivers, rather than trying to be like, well, I'll conserve my tires, I'll save my stuff and let these guys on by, kind of settle in for the long run.
Oh, we got a slider in the back.
Trouble toward the back. Looks like it may have been the 84.
Yes, Roger Ray. He got a little bit out of the groove. Yep, he got a little bit out of the groove, drifted, slid up, tapped the wall, slid it again, ass tapped the wall, and straightened it right back out.
Looks like a pretty phenomenal driving job, I gotta say. As we check back to the live shot here, Schwallenberg still hounding the 10. I do wonder what that's going to do in the long term to his right side tires as he throws it hard on the outside.
Oh,
no.
Boy, that's touchy. That's touchy.
Oh, man.
That's not a good touch.
Almost. And now it's getting on, but we know that neither of these guys are willing to let anybody pass.
Oh, God, the 51.
A little bit loose.
A little bit more than a little bit. Oh, man.
Boy. But yeah, you see how much that's stacking everyone up behind him. Shane Sides says, thank you very much. I'll take that one. Malin might also follow suit. Oh boy. Oh,
This
hey,
is
that's
not playing
Schwallenberg.
to the strength of Dylan Schwallenberg, because I think when that green flag dropped for that last restart, he was driving frustrated. He's going to be driving frustrated even more with losing a couple of spots there, and it's not going to do any favor to his tires.
I mean, you saw the dive that he just put right there. That is going to really hurt him. I mean, unless he decides to really short pit it and then just go as hard as he can and hope that he opens up a gap, which could work at a race like this. The undercut can definitely be very beneficial. But now look at this. Weeks now falling victim to the 2 and the 18, so move them guys up a little bit. And also, yes, Shane Sides.
And the 51 trying to work that outside again. I don't know if his tires are going to be there to get it to work, because he gets that down onto the grass and shoots. No, I thought he was going to shoot by the 10. 10 still has the advantage by about half a car length for position.
I just don't think that this is going to work much longer. Yeah, he slides up in front of LaPrade. LaPrade ain't going to have any of that. Of course, we all know what happened last week between those two, but no hard feelings. 63 of Alexander Gonzalez is there too, also in a bit of a desperation as far as trying to get in. Oh boy.
Not much has changed in regards to the leaders, but the big thing there is just simply Sean Ryan with a beaten and battered race car kind of closed up the gap in between first through third. And now the question is just with how difficult the mid-pack has been racing one another, is a lap-down car going to run the risk of, well, let's just simply say someone making a very desperate move for position.
That's fair. It can definitely happen. Yep, checking up at the front three, Ogo's still dominating, but you got Gus and Amoito just sitting tight right now, second and third. We are within 30 laps to go now, so if you really wanted to, you could pit now, and you will be good to the end of the race as far as fuel. So we'll see who will opt to do it first. Oh, man,
There's
yep.
so much stack-up going on back here in this group from about 4th place on back. I'm not necessarily certain if I'm of the opinion yet that final pit stop's going to be under green flag conditions.
Don't blame you. You guys tapping the wall. Lamas underneath of Gonzalez. That's for 9th. I will give Schwallenberg credit, though. I'm looking at him, and it looks like he's just kind of leveled off now, which is actually pretty impressive considering how hard it looked like he was going. And, well, okay, still is.
The crazy thing is, at this moment, this race is starting to feel more like an F1 race.
Yeah?
Front leaders are just kind of running out there ahead, and all the excitement's in the mid pack.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth? I mean, these guys are still within about half a second of each other up in the front three, so definitely worth keeping an eye on as it plays on. Cody Lamas starting to make some noise up now to 8th, has just gotten by the 74. And Jovan Anderson, who's praying beyond belief for a caution, or 2, is currently shown 2 laps down.
I think I've got to be thinking here with the top 3 as well. You know, right now they've got a pretty manageable gap of nearly 2.5 seconds back to 4th place running Shane Sides. In terms of trying to undercut and short pit each other, honestly, I think all 3 of these drivers are now of the mentality, stretch it as far as that fuel will possibly go, just based on the racing that's going on back here in that second group. I mean, if you come down pit road and possibly lose a lap under yellow, I mean, you'd be the lucky dog, but you'd have to start at the rear of the field. That's a lot of track position you would lose out on. I think that you basically have to stretch as far as possible, just on the off chance there might be a yellow flag that comes out.
That's a fair point there. I mean, if you really wanted to stretch it, I think that these guys would probably be looking at about lap 110. I think that's about as far as they would be able to go. Maybe even a few more laps beyond that. And even then, I will ask the both of you, if they stretch it long enough, would 2 tires be a viable strategy?
I'd say it really depends on the driver's experience with that. You know, we mentioned earlier, this track is bumpy. This track is abrasive on tires. It's kind of important that you keep those tires cooled under temperature. I would say if I was going to pit for 2 tires, I'd go for the right sides, but yet at the same time, you know, the left side tires do help with traction and everything like that. So I don't know which side of the tires are wearing out faster and which one's getting as hot, but I don't know. You either have to be very, very confident with your skills, or if you really have the balls to go out and just be that gutsy, well, you better hope that it works.
Yeah, well, if you are stretching it as far as you can possibly go here on this run, it would definitely have to be the right side tires for a 2-stop strategy, and I think that the max you'd have to take on would only be a can of fuel, which would equal out to the amount of time it would take to change those right side tires. The thing you would have to worry about is what we just saw right there. Shane Sides getting onto pit road. You cannot smoke those tires. You cannot get on the brakes and wear down that left front. Otherwise, you're more than likely going to have to go with a 4-tire strategy, because the tire heat built up in that left front is really going to affect your speed for the remainder of this race.
And Robbie Gilbert joined him on pit road, so now this is where we're going to see who's going to follow him and who's going to go against the grain. Top 3 do indeed do so, just like you guys pointed out. And, oh, a spinner! Cody Lamas! Oh, and Seth, that is exactly what you mentioned. If Shane Sides went a lap down, he's in trouble.
By the way, they both went with 4 tires, and at the timing of the yellow flag being called, I think the 51 had just made it past the commitment line onto pit road, so he's able to come down and take on service, and the 51 might very well, with the timing of that caution, be our race leader when we go back green.
So the 51 came down pit road there, and by what you're saying, sounds like he made it. Everyone else now going to come down for what will hopefully be the final stop of the night. Or at least they're hoping. Cody Lamas in a world of trouble there. Actually, I'm going to watch the race off pit road before we take a look at the replay. Did Sides and Gilvin stay on the lead lap?
They did not. They got trapped a lap down. Both of them right now taking the wave around, since all the rest of the lead lap cars came to pit road.
Oh man, I mean, yeah, they'll still be on the lead lap, but holy crap, that would have been something. Seeing them manage to get up and be up toward the front, just like the 51 probably will be. Taking a look at the race off pit road. A little door bang in there, 36 and 10. Tyler Mallon actually beats the 36 off pit road. Other than that, things look pretty consistent.
63 of Gonzalez indeed did blame the incident, and
Teixeira spinning.
a little bit surprised by that one, because I was looking back to the chat, and Schwallenberg absolutely posted that he was coming to pit road, and both Cody Lamas and the 63 of Gonzalez ran awfully low there through 3 and 4 with knowing the 51 was going to be coming to pit lane. So Schwallenberg really didn't have a whole lot of room to be able to work his way down to the inside, and almost got ran over for his troubles.
We'll take a look at it here. As you said, I mean, there is that, like, you see that chat button down there at the bottom. That's usually them saying that they're going to be pitting. And yeah, I don't know if no one saw it or just ignored it, because everyone still decided to stay behind him. And I don't know, I just think that you got to put that on the fact that no one really got out of the way. And Schwallenberg checking up there, trying to come down pit road, and no one was really ready for it. Can't really blame the 63 there because, well, they're all stacking up. But, I don't know. I'd be interested to see, did we have a claim on that one?
63 claimed that one when he ran into the back of the 48. Didn't check up enough when Schwallenberg was coming to pit road. Now, a couple things to follow up on here. Dylan Schwallenberg has actually dropped to the tail end of the field. Haven't heard anything over race control of the fact that the 51 was having to be sent to the back. He said that he hit pit road at the timing that the caution came out. And we have to remember, even though we saw Cody Lama spinning, it's based off of when the admin calls the yellow. And it was a couple of seconds after the 48 was spinning. So on my end, it looked like Schwallenberg made it past the yellow commitment line before the admin called the caution. And so I'm a little confused why the 51 is actually towards the tail end of the pack here for this restart. I think he should have been restarting up as the leader.
I mean, that's always the tough thing with manual cautions, is that you can't thoroughly check that unless you have some kind of like a stream synced up to the audio of Shane calling out the caution, which unfortunately here on this stream we do not have. So I don't know. I mean, if it's a matter of inches or whatever it may be, I mean, there might be some maybe some changes post-race depending on whatever the call is, but as of now, the 51 is at the back. 63 has also dropped to the rear. And I think we may be going green this time with 16 to go.
Going back there to the Schwallenberg incident there on pit road. I mean, there are timing lines, yellow timing lines down pit road. At the time that the caution was called, Schwallenberg was already down to the second yellow timing line. So I don't see how it's possible that he wasn't on pit road prior to that caution being called.
Sorry, just a little bit of lag there. But my only guess at this point is some rule that we don't know about, or he sped. Those are the only two guesses that I would have. Because if he sped, then yeah, that would pretty much negate it.
Green flag is going to wave once more.
Ooh, man, guys getting after it that time. A little squirrely. Goss on the outside of the 7. 36 going even higher. Getting a little bit sideways. Teixeira almost into the wall. Jovan Anderson back on the lead lap. So look out for him, and we'll see how aggressive Schwallenberg's going to be now. He's going to be fuming under that helmet.
Oh, saw some smoke back there. I think the 63 almost got out of shape, got on the brakes, kept it straight, still green.
Yeah, they're all a little bit scattered back there. Taking 15 laps to go here. Now, this is not a sprint, so you can't be going full out, push as hard as you can. There's still a little bit of tire, I think, to be saved here. Because otherwise, once you get down in like the final couple of laps, if you push as hard as you can, I think that you're going to be screwed. But we'll find out.
63 got loose in the middle of the turn, slid it, and
3
managed
wide.
to keep it straight.
Schmallenberg, like I predicted, taking no prisoners, trying to work his way back toward the front. But Ogo has been the dominator tonight, and that remains the case at the moment. But we'll see if Goss or Amoedo can do anything about that. Tyler Mallon also waiting in the wings in that pack, and then a few car lengths back to Dejan Weeks in the 10. Currently running 5th.
And back on that last run, don't forget Austin Ogo didn't really run away with the lead like he did on the first run when it was just him and Dylan Schwallenberg. Will Goss and Natan Amiedo were able to keep him within striking distance. They were managing to do so again here, so don't give this win to Austin Ogo just yet.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they may have been watching that 7 and being like, okay, how are we going to go about this? And now they might have the info that they need to try and pounce on him in these final 12 laps. Still keep my eye on that 51 as Roger Ray with a little bit of side-to-side warp. 74 up the track. Oh, really close to Jovan Anderson's rear bumper. But everyone keeping it straight. Tyler Mallon starting to fall off just a little bit from these front 3. Will they be able to do anything with the leader, Austin Ogo, who has absolutely dominated thus far? Checking through the field. Right now, Shane Sides running in 8th, going for 7th actually on the 51. Again, a driver that we haven't talked too much about as far as him being in the playoffs. I mean, he's in the playoffs, albeit not in the best shape, but he's coming into this race ahead of Dejan Weeks and a few other guys, so definitely, if he can get his way up there far enough, might have a word or two about potentially a Final Four. But Schwallenberg saying, I got a word for you. You ain't going to be pressing me, but he's going to spin. Don't know if that's going to count as contact.
It is. Caution is out.
Schwallenberg around. Looked like he just started to self-spin and then a little bit of a tap from everyone else trying to check up. That will count as contact. And within the final 10 laps.
Got his
Caution.
left sides down there on that white line. Especially that left rear, and that got him really loose with the paint grip, and Shane Sides was all over his back bumper, so there was no opportunity for him to be able to lift enough for Schwallenberg to gather it back up.
Oh boy. So, with that little run there, how is that, or who's going to do what as far as tire strategy here?
Well,
We're going to find
everyone's
out.
coming down. I was watching there on that last run, too. The difference of how the top 3 were approaching the corners. Austin Ogo was half throttle for about 3 seconds. Will Goss and Natan Amiedo were half throttle for about 4 seconds. So, in terms of saving tire, the 29 and the 36 would have been saving just a little bit more than Austin Ogo. But then again, bear in mind, Austin Ogo had the advantage of clean air.
Yeah, so looks like
2 tire stop, Tyler Mallon.
Yep, Tyler Mallon. That looks like 2 tires to me. And I think he's the only one. Or actually, no. Tristan Allen, maybe Robbie Gilbert. Oh yeah, and a few other guys. Oh, this got interesting. This got really interesting. Hey, it's IMRC. What do you expect?
113 laps in, and it's the first time Austin Ogo all evening is going to have to deal with traffic out the windshield.
He's going to deal with 5 cars. Well, 4 cars. Looks like Allen may have sped. But boy, does this... Okay. Does this breathe some life for the 69 and the 63 as far as their hopes? Because now they're up here, maybe with a shot to clinch their way in. I mean, I think it's going to be hard to keep the 7 and the 29 behind them. But, I mean, they're up here. And even points-wise, they've got a bit of a gap now on the 2 and the 10. And a few others. Schwallenberg way back there now. We'll
And
see.
we're going to go green on this lap, so...
Ooh,
Oh,
boy.
boy.
7 laps to go. And we
And
might
all
not even be done
17
yet.
cars on the lead laps. That's a lot of points, a lot of positions you could lose if you get involved in a wreck this late.
I mean, this is the first time some of these guys have been up toward the front. Malin, we know that they can get it done. But as far as 69, 63, what are they going to be able to do? Pretty good restart for them. Bit of
I
a
was going to say the
shove.
69 and the 63 are both
Oh,
very
man, 3-1
competitive.
and Tingley is around.
There's a crash. There's a crash. Don't die. Don't die as we take the yellow.
Yeah, all really bunched up here. Someone lifts at the wrong moment, and that's going to be problems. Someone further back in trouble, and it's the 03 of Liam Tingley bringing out another caution. And now the number of laps just get less and less, and the sense of urgency is just going to get more and more.
And this might have been what Tyler Malin was banking on. I wonder of these possible late yellows on restarts, allowing him to stay up here at the front.
Well, it paid off there. It looks like Alexander Gonzalez is going to be second. The 03 just with a slight little door tap from the 48 of Cody Lamas. Just not quite enough room for all those cars.
Well, that's not good. Schwallenberg has fallen out of the server.
Yikes! I mean, I know that he had the point cushion, but boy, this is getting a little more and more marginal for that 51.
Seems like everything that could go wrong for Schwallenberg has gone wrong tonight.
Yeah, oh boy. I mean, lost track position with after overshooting his pit stall, trying to gain it back, killed his tires, and then trying to gain it back again, and ended up spinning, and now has fallen out of the server. Golly, it's Friday the 13th for that 51.
Well, there is some slight good news in just that not the 03, I'm sorry. 03 has got a position, is dropping to the back. Schwal is actually getting back into the server, so he is going to be on the lead lap, but it's just, he is going to have so much ground he needs to catch up. That's the frustrating thing.
And there he is catching back up back there.
I want to give a little shout out to Felipe Teixeira. They called the one to green. He was almost completely past pit road, came to a stop when he heard one to green, did a U-turn back to pit road entry, and then came down pit road. That was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen as far as a pit road entry.
I need to see this. So, oh my god. One to green at the line. Well, okay, we're taking one to green here. No, wait, shoot! Comes to a stop here.
Recalculating.
I can't believe that the game actually let him do that, because if you go backwards long enough, it disqualifies you.
Yep.
Well, credit to him. That might be the move of the race. If that 16 wins, I will lose my marbles. So the 18 and the 63 on the front row, these two have been real buddy-buddy with each other. Always able to find each other on the racetrack. But you got Malin looking to secure their way to Homestead. And the 63 also looking to do the same, but maybe in a bit of a more desperate situation. And you still got Gilman there too. 4 to go. Ooh, man, big tire spin there. 4 wide.
Almost.
Oh.
7 right on the 63's rear bumper.
And he's loose in the middle.
Oh, yeah, right in the middle of the corner is the 7.
63
to the wall.
to the outside wall.
Look at the run for the 69.
2-car went for a big slide down the back straightaway, but never went fully around. Bounced off a couple of cars.
Ooh,
Oh, the 7 slides!
Oh, go! Oh, man. Dominates the race, and it looks like he's in trouble now. But look at this
Here comes
battle.
Gus.
Side by side.
Rewind further back. Schwallenberg.
Oh,
there's
the 63
gonna go around.
slides!
But
He
he
keeps
kept
it straight. There's no penalty, I believe.
No caution.
Wig shooting to the inside to take away third.
69. Desperate move to try and get into the final 4. 2 to go.
Oh,
Another
they
spinner.
push.
Thought I heard spinning, but we keep it straight. Malin is clear. 2 to go.
Oh my goodness.
No spin. Everyone's still straight.
Oh, the
Ogo.
7 peaks. His nose cuts the clothesline.
Golly, what a move. But Maryland with a few car lengths now on the 10. Oh, that's not going to be
Oh,
good.
Ogo touches the 36. Then crash. The 48 crashes as well.
And green, white, checkered.
Oh my
Oh.
goodness.
And what is so heartbreaking about that? That's going to be on the 7. He is. Oh. Oh my goodness. And oh my goodness, part 2. The 51 is now up to 5th.
And Jovan Anderson's 3rd.
My eyes were practically bugging out of my head seeing this.
I didn't know where to look.
I saw that coming in slow motion. The 7 just tapping the 36, sending him around. But then all of a sudden the 48 was sideways.
A snail would have had an easier time seeing all that action.
Oh man. Hey, this is IMRC. Did we really expect anything else than an insane finish? Going into the corner. I think that the 7 tried to keep the 51 behind him and just overdrove it. And Amoedo just on the wrong end of that.
Yeah,
And
I think Ogo definitely realized Schwallenberg was going to be his main source of competition potentially for this win if both of them were able to get up there to the 18 and was doing everything he could, keeping his rearview mirror. Then noticed that the 36 was braking a little bit early that he was and just couldn't get its load up in time.
it was just a little bit of contact between the 48 and the 84 that sent Cody Lamas around.
Man, that's such a tough break for Natan, too. Was driving such a smart race, hadn't been involved in any incident up to this point, and was trying to gain as many points as he possibly could on those other drivers that came in inside the top 4 in the stands. Was potentially in a position to win his way into the final 4, and you run into trouble early in a long race like this, you got plenty of time to be able to gain it back. When you have something like this happen in the final 10 laps, very unlikely you're going to be able to get back into the picture for the victory.
And he was 5th in points coming into this, so that's a bummer right there.
Tell you what, that hits like that, just all the circumstances of that. That's like crushing a golf ball, but that golf ball is your heart.
If you can crush a golf ball, remind me not to get in a fight with you. Okay, are we taking green here or 1 to go?
I believe we are going to be going green this time. Field will catch, and so we are going to be going green.
Green, white, checkered.
First overtime.
Attempt number 1. Malin and Weeks on the front row. Tire spin.
Oh!
There goes 29. Oh, man, that sucks. But, oh, look at Anderson up to 2nd already. Good try to peek his nose.
Boy.
Oh, he's sideways.
Oh, he slides! He kept it
Saves it.
together! They're not
4
dead!
wide.
They're not dead!
Wide.
Oh, gosh, that's not going to
And
work,
there
boys.
goes the 42. Big wreck.
Oh, and upside
5,
down goes
7 is
Ogo.
in.
cars. Ogo against the wall. 48. 03 hits the 7.
29 spinning back there as well. 7 cars that I totaled up there in that one.
And attempt number 2 coming up. My heart can't take this.
And, oh boy. Oh no, this is not good. The 84 ran into the back of the 42. I think Roger Ray already had a strike. If he didn't, it's one of 2 things going to happen.
I think he
He's
did have
either
a
gonna get
strike.
that, oh no.
I think he did. I don't see him. I don't
I
see
was
the
gonna
84.
I was
Yeah, I
going to
think-
say,
Race over.
one of
Marked it, I
2.
think.
One of 2 things is going to happen. He was either going to go a lap down because we are in an overtime situation, or if he already had a strike, which it looks like he did, that's the end of his race. He has
He's
been
parked it.
disqualified.
I mean, he has the
Wow.
win in his back pocket, but just like we were talking about earlier, if it goes to some kind of a tiebreaker where 5 playoff drivers win, that's not good for him in any regard. So what even
Jovan-
caused this?
Jovan
Oh,
Anderson,
yeah,
Austin Ogo. They're
was
down
it?
pit road, and those are two drivers that have been up in the top 5 all day. Will Goss also down pit road. I mean, that's 3 drivers that have been up in the top 5 all night.
I mean, just how much your race can go upside down just like that. Ogo went from leading well over 100 laps, or it has to be over 100, to killed in 2 separate incidents now.
He's not killed, but
Well, yeah.
it's
It ain't good.
it's kind of kill.
Oh my gosh, I gotta send a shout out to the 63 of Alexander Gonzalez for checking up in time to miss that.
I want to give a clap to the hand too on Will Goss because he, as the 03 spins coming out of the pits, the 29, even though he got shuffled all the way back there, he did not hit anyone. He looped his car when the big one happened, but he did not receive any damage from that incident. So luck is going to have to be kind of on his side to be able to regain a lot of that position that was lost on that restart. But one to green. But man, just
That's.
I love the metaphor we got up here with the first 2 rows as well. You got Tyler Mallon on the inside of row 1, Dylan Schwallenberg on the inside of row 2. These are drivers that right now are inside of the top 4 in the point standings. You got Dejan Weeks on the outside of row 1 and Shane Sides on the outside of row 2. These are 2 drivers that are on the outside of the cut line. So a little metaphoric here is all 4 of these drivers, along with Dunn LaPrade there in 5th, could win their way into the final 4 here tonight.
and Natan, even though that he's not in the best of straights, like, I mean, his car is not battered too terribly. It's pretty well composed.
And you've got Tyler Mallon out there on only 2 tires. You got to go all the way back to 6th, Tristan Allen, to find the next driver on 2 tires. There are 4 fresh Goodyears starting in 2nd to 5th.
I mean, they got to get through the gears well. I mean, Weeks and Mallon have a love-hate relationship. I mean, Weeks practically pushed Mallon to the win at the first race of the year at Talladega. And then Weeks at Charlotte absolutely, like, threw every block imaginable on Mallon. Mallon was not too happy about it. Now, they're up here in the top 2. I mean, Schwallenberg in 3rd. He's going to do anything in his power to pass those 2.
He might go 3 wide into turn 1.
If he gets the
It's very
restart, I will not be
possible.
surprised. Here we go. Demp number 2. Sideways.
Wiggle.
Hits the 10. But the 10 is still there. Will everyone else keep it straight? That's the question. Good run here from the 10 of Weeks. Allen into the wall.
51 down to the inside.
Oh man, big dive.
He's right on his rear bumper.
Oh, he's gonna get a run here, maybe. White
He's
flag.
maybe going to get a run. They're teammates. Keep that in mind. 7 goes sliding.
White flag here.
Oh,
They're going to be...
They took the white.
They shouldn't have a yellow, so
They took
who
the
knows
white.
what's going to happen.
Schwallenberg clears the 10.
What a recovery by the 51, but I'm going to be honest, I don't think it's enough.
Oh, he gets a bump.
He gets shoved up the hill.
Oh, he's gonna get
Oh, no!
Oh my, that's not gonna end well. Tyler Mallon, though, is gonna win for the first time of the year on a non-super speedway. Look at this battle behind him.
And they're still
Everyone
wrecking.
dies.
They're still wrecking coming to the start-finish line. Cody Lamas ran into the back of Dylan Schwallenberg off turn 4.
Dunn LaPrade finishes second in all that.
Gracious, Jovan Anderson's dead.
Everyone's dead.
Sounds like the
Including
helicopter
me.
that went through your house just back in the midway portion of the race.
But Tyler Mallon, first winner on non-super speedway of the season, going to clinch their way officially to the final 4. Dunn LaPrade in second, and I have no idea beyond that.
And it all goes back to that 2-tire strategy call on the final pit stop of the night for the 18. Gained him that track position, and he was able to keep them all in his rearview mirror until the end.
And able to hold on to it. I think there's going to be some unpleasantries between the 10 and the 51 after that.
Well, another thing that Schwallenberg's not going to be too thrilled about, Natan Amiedo, who was involved in that next to last yellow flag and dropped back outside the top 5, he's going to finish 3rd with Schwallenberg crossing the line in 12th. So Natan may have just moved up into the top 4 in points.
Ooh, that's true. I'm going to be interested to see And I'm going to try and stay tuned here. I hope that they get the I hope that they get the standings up here shortly, because I want to see where it is before we head out here. Taking a look at that incident there, we're also we saw Ogo spin as well, but yep, big block there by the 51, and Weeks just sent it, and the car just didn't stick. Actually, a great save by the 51. Of course, Malin wins, and it is just a cluster behind them.
I'm looking at the finish on the helicopter cam. Oh my goodness. Just how close it was for those final few positions just outside the top 3. I mean, it's only a difference of really two or so points,
man.
But still, look at that. Just look at that.
Yeah, I'm looking from the spectator camera. Looks like Weeks edged out Sides and Anderson, but in an incredible 3-wide finish between all of them. Yeah, Amoino going to be third, and LaPrade second. I'll be interested to see how much they're going to move up.
I want to give a couple of quick shout outs here real quick as I look at the finish. Now, things could obviously change, but this is what I wanted to highlight. The 69, 7th place. The 16, after being a couple of laps down, 8th place. Will Goss, although heartbreaking how it went, 9th place, and the 63 finishes 10th. This was a race that had 18 drivers in it. Some of these guys were nowhere near this close, right there at the gaggle of the finish. Good recovery. That's all I will simply say.
Tell you what else I'm keeping an eye on, and that's the chat after these drivers cross the start-finish line. There may be some follow-through from tonight into Atlanta next week. That block there from Schwallenberg on to Dejan Weeks that led to the contact over in turn 3 on the final lap. There are some words that have been exchanged between both drivers, and it's sounding like they're going to need a week to cool off.
For the sake of YouTube, I will not be pulling up the chat myself. But yeah, oh boy. I don't know if I should talk to them or not. I mean, that's up to them. As long as, oh boy, drama. Freaking.
Tune into the Top Dragster Radioactive later on this week.
You know, it's funny. I've been thinking about doing something like that, but
I'm surprised we don't have anything like that at the moment.
I'm too lazy to throw anything like that together. Oh,
we do have some people that would like to be interviewed.
Oh yeah,
and they are
definitely,
queued up. So.
Yeah, definitely. All right, yeah, we got a few in the waiting room here. I need to take a breather there. I'm not gonna lie. I thought about around halfway through the race, I thought that this was going to be, relatively speaking, a snoozer. I thought that Ogo was just going to run away with it. Maybe Anderson would have gotten up there or something. Maybe Malin even. But I did not see that as being the second half of the race. But hey, it's IMRC. Every single race this season has had its moments of awesomeness, craziness, excitement, some drama here and there, like tonight. Watkins Glen has so far been the most boring race of the season, and it put on a good show itself, so... Man, this has been awesome. I am so glad that I've gotten the opportunity to do this. Thank you so much, Shane, for putting up with me doing this. I know that you weren't the most enthusiastic about it, but thank you. Thank you so much. This is awesome. What do you say we talk to our race winner, though? Tyler Malin.
User was moved to your channel.
And we got them there. Tyler Malin. First time winning a non-super speedway race, and doing so in dramatic fashion, but at the end of the day, a lot of that boiled down to that two-tire call. I'll just ask what the mentality was there, and well, first, and also how it feels to get a win here in the playoffs.
It's a big weight off my shoulders. I was really nervous about the Tri-County Speedway. I've never even heard of that, so I was really nervous about that because I didn't know what to expect at all. So I was worried that was going to knock me out of the playoffs, but I'm just glad I don't really have to worry about that now. I can just kind of relax until Homestead. And for the two-tire strategy, I noticed that the left sides weren't wearing basically at all for the entire race, so I was figuring if we were gonna get a late race restart, it would probably be a good idea to take 2 tires and just get the track position, because it's really hard to set up your corner properly here and to get a run out of it and get alongside him on the straightaway. So to make the pass. So that was definitely a challenge all race. So I was trying to avoid that on the last couple of restarts.
Well, it was definitely smooth sailing for you there once they all got into their a big skirmish behind you. You just pretty much cruised that win, but did you see or hear anything going on in that? I am so fried. I'm so sorry.
No, don't worry. I am too. There were definitely a couple things going on in the chat. Like, you might not want to put that on the stream. Don't open it on the stream.
I am not opening the chat. Seth said that it was something going on, so I'm leaving it at that.
Yeah, no, there was I'm watching it back right now. It looks like a couple people were really aggressive on that last restart. I don't want to say too much about it though. So.
Well, hey, that's a win for you though. At the end of the day, big congratulations. I honestly thought it would be pretty tough to see anyone win other than the 7. So, congrats and.
Yeah, he was flying. He led 107 laps today. I just saw that. Can you believe that?
That's how many it officially was. Okay, I knew it was over 100.
That is a lot.
And ends up just. I don't even know where you officially ended up. Like back in maybe the last car on the track even.
Unofficially 12th place.
12th, okay. Man.
7?
Yeah, for Ogo.
Wow.
Man, that stinks for him, but big congrats to you. That's always awesome to see. That 18 car is freaking beautiful, so it's cool to see that in victory lane. And
oh, thank you.
And
it's going to update it next week with a nice metallic finish.
Ooh,
so
nice.
Keep an eye out for that in the Google Drive.
I will definitely be snagging that then. But yeah, good luck in Atlanta, and good luck onward from there.
Thank you so much.
So Tyler Mallon,
left your channel.
the lucky recipient of all the chaos there, bringing it home with the win. And before we get our next guy, golly, that is insane. This season, I know we still have 4 races to go, but is it safe to say that this season has had a little bit of everything that you would want, at least from a viewer perspective? I mean, obviously, if you're in the middle of it, it's not very fun, but watching this type of thing, I mean, there's no denying, take for instance the Jeff Gordon, Brad Keselowski at Texas. There's no denying that it leads to some excitement when you see stuff like that.
I would definitely say that with this being the 10th season of Cup and just, not really knowing where the future lies for a lot of people, to be honest, I would definitely say that things are cranked up a few extra notches here. For the 10th season, I'm sure, it's a prestigious season, 10 seasons, more or less, over maybe the course of 7-ish years or so. It's just been kind of crazy how everything has fallen through, and
yeah,
I got no words for it. It's just absolutely insane.
I mean, this season so far has culminated all of it, and I know I'm not trying to glorify fighting or intent wrecking or nothing like that. It's not a good thing, but I mean, you know, drama is TV, pretty much.
That's the word right there that Blake just said. It's passion. These drivers, everybody is going out there with the mentality, hey, if the circumstances are right, I can win this race. And I got to do everything I can in my power. I got to be as aggressive as I possibly can to make sure I'm in that position to capitalize if the cards do fall my way. We're seeing drivers here tonight, non-playoff contenders, that are racing against the playoff drivers as if they were all still battling for the championship. You've got drivers that made their season debuts here in Season 9 of the Cup Series that are racing guys that have been here in IMRC for seasons and seasons. Every single driver out there is realizing, hey, the competition here is fierce. I've got to step up my game to be able to, kind of adapt to the type of race that's going on here. Otherwise, I'm going to be finishing at the back every single race.
Hey, wake up.
True that. I mean, as done saying, hey, we getting interviewed or what? I'll go ahead and move them up here. But yeah, it's passion, and these guys want it. If you think that they don't want it, just look at what we witnessed here.
User was moved to your channel.
It's a lot of fun. Oops, sorry to cut you off there.
Nah, you're good.
Dunlap finishes in second. I think that you probably had one of the more roller coaster races of the night, along with the third place finisher, who we'll get to very shortly. But second place, not quite the win, not quite the lock in, but definitely going to help your points situation. Oh my gosh, I can't English anymore. I'll ask, what does that do for you heading into these next 3 races?
Yeah, again, like I said last week, we just got to be consistent. So it's giving me more confidence going forward. Just trying to not try to screw up. I mean, I failed to do that last week, but I did not do that this week. So I'm very thrilled to get a second place finish there. I'll be honest, we were so bad at qualifying. Like, we didn't even crack the top 5 the entire race up until the final couple of restarts, I believe. But man, I mean, it's just I mean, I don't know. It's a lot of things went on. I mean, I got, everybody was just kind of racing a little bit, like, all over the place. Like, I mean, it's the Jays, so I can't really blame them. But I mean, I was trying to be conservative, but I think it backfired on me a lot. So, and then, I got moved up, and then I got put in the wall in the backstretch. I mean, that's just racing. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't know how the hell I got second place. I should not have finished second. I should have been a top 10. But to be able to get a second, oh my God. I mean, it's good that I got luck on my side in some circumstances like this, of course. But man, I mean, it just, after what happened last week, again, it just gives me a lot more confidence that we can, contend for wins and such. Well, we won today, but if we could just put ourselves in the right position, we could try to at least make something happen. But man, I honestly wish that we had at least a 5-lap shootout or something, because when I got out in front coming off before coming to the checkers, I was thinking in the back of my head, man, what could have been if we had at least 5 more laps? Then I could have gone around Tyler. But I mean, congrats to him. I mean, he put himself in the right position at the right time. So I mean, that's why he's been leading the points all season long. So I'll give him credit where it's due. But I mean, it stinks to not get the win, but to finish second after a rough start to the chase last week, I feel really good.
And I have to ask, just because it's kind of the talking point right now, you had a bird's eye view of the deal going on between the 51 and the 10. What did that look like?
I don't know. I mean, I thought that the 10, clipped the apron, it looked like from my vantage point, but I don't know. I mean, I was trying to just focus on my own race, and then when I saw the red, and I was like, oh no, I gotta go low. And I had Shane beside me too, so I was trying to hold my car, turn it to left as far as I can and not wreck Shane. And because, I mean, they were going to go, crazy anyway. So I was just trying to hope and pray, they wouldn't bounce down and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just racing. I mean, I don't know what else I can really say about that. But at the same time, all I'm worried about is focusing on my own race, not anybody else's.
Well, there you go. And hey, it paid off. I mean, at the end of the day, yep, bringing home second, a really good haul of points. Looking forward to seeing how you'll stack up amongst everyone else for these next 3 races, and I will say best of luck to you in those final 3 races.
Yep, thank you.
Dylan Pratt finishing in second. Now for our good friend and fellow colleague, number 36,
User
Amorito,
left your channel.
finishing in third.
User was moved to your channel.
And we got Amorito here now. Third place in kind of similar to Dunn, almost even more chaotic. How was it for you? I mean, you had you had some good runs there. You got involved in some incidents, and still got on the podium. How you feeling?
Man, I think that. First of all, how did that look like in the broadcast? Because that end was, oh my god, I was almost sending an F word here. But how amazing was that?
It was definitely something. And Seth said, I can't look at the chat on stream, but Seth said that there were some unpleasantries.
Well, race was great. I told you guys it would be great before the race started. I'm very happy that I had a great run through the race. I was feeling very confident. Everything was very smooth, very good. I had a shot at winning the race, I believe. I got really, really pissed off at that crash with like less than 10 to go. Austin Ogle just sent his car on my car, and I was like, okay, this is over, but I don't even know what to say. That race was so crazy. I just ended up being P8 on the next restart. Had 4 fresh tires, car was good, and just kept the lights on and got a P3 finish. So I'm so happy for it. It's playoffs is it's no joke. It's not like the regular season where you can do anything you want. I was driving like crazy in the regular season, and I think that not anymore. And that's paying off because first P4 in Watkins Glen, which is a track that I really I'm not that good, so I think it was a great result. And now P3 in Chicago after that, so much chaos, like you said. So I'm hoping for a win in Atlanta. And yeah, man, playoff hopes is still alive, and yeah, just very happy about it.
And yeah, right, as you should be. I mean, a third place is always good no matter what the deal is. I mean, you were running third there between Ogo and Goss for quite a while there. It definitely seemed like Ogo had his tire game down the best, but it seemed like you and the 29 had him figured out there on that run. Was it just a matter of where to let off, or were you doing anything differently to be able to keep it up there with him?
Not really. It was just a matter of track position, having clean air or being after fast cars, And Austin Ogle, he was very, very fast. I think he was the fastest car tonight. I'm pretty sure he was the fastest car in the track. The 29 was also like flaming fast, He was unbelievable. So that was just really that was the only opportunity that I really had to show off the speed I was having through the race. I think that Ogo was having the best run in there, but we had a shot. Me, Gus, so I don't think we figured out anything. It was just a matter of track position. I think that's pretty much it. There were some cars that were not as fast, and that kind of holds you off, when you fall behind, So, yeah.
Well, hey, I mean, you played the cards that you were dealt, and you played them pretty well. And congrats to you. We'll see how you shake up on the standings, but yeah, great job and congrats.
I'm gonna win Atlanta. Thank you.
You said we'd be talking to you as a winner from here, but nah, you're finished.
Yeah,
I just gotta give you some
crap.
crap.
Hey, I told you guys I was gonna win at Rio, and I didn't win at Rio. And then I said, hey, I'm winning in Dover, which was, the week after. I won at Dover, so maybe I'm repeating that. We'll see.
That's true. Yeah,
I hope.
That's true. Atlanta being similar in some regards to tonight. I'm gonna see if they've updated the points yet.
I won in Atlanta 2 seasons ago, so I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, there you go. It does not look like they have updated the standings as of yet.
No, yeah.
But
still playoff spots is still open though, so it will be interesting.
Yeah, we got Roger Ray and Malin now all but locked in, assuming that 3 other different playoff drivers rather win, in which case then it'll come down to other statistics like Seth was mentioning. I will just ask Blake and Seth, so with the with the situation that we have heading into Atlanta now, obviously things are really shaken up at this point. Who knows where Dejan Weeks actually finished, if they're going to give him a possible position penalty. Schwallenberg falling way back as a result of that. Ogo even in a little bit of trouble maybe. And great finishes from Laprade and Amoedo, and even Shane Sides. So just what might the picture be looking like from a racing perspective heading to Atlanta?
Well, I'll simply say this: Atlanta has been known on the NASCAR circuit and just for IMRC too as a track that can definitely be very exciting and at least have very exciting finishes. Based off of previous races as Atlanta, as either a driver and or a commentator, I would say that we're kind of noticing a pattern, and it kind of unfolded a little bit tonight, and that is very short green flag runs as we're coming to the checkered flag. Like, I am going to be honest with you. I have a very strong feeling next week Atlanta is going to come down to a race very similar tonight. We'll have a decent green flag run. We will get cautions in the closing laps. We will have a green-white checker finish. And as to beyond as to where that goes, well, I think at that point it really depends on A, who saved their tires, and B, who's desperate enough that they're going to do something crazy enough to get themselves a win. And will that event lead to another bad finish? I have no idea what's going to happen next week. I'm on the edge of my seat, excited and so fearful as to what's going to happen. But there's going to be a lot of hungry drivers next week, and who knows what's going to happen.
And I think, too, with Atlanta being the middle track here of the playoffs, I think you are going to see, for the remaining playoff contenders that haven't locked themselves in, you're going to see a little bit more of a peak of desperation next week, because it's really the last track where drivers are going to really be able to control their destiny, so to speak. You've got, of course, the following week, we're going to the short track of Tri-County. Nobody really knows what to expect there. There's a big question mark that week, and then we go to a track that's qualified as a super speedway with the track that's going to be determined our Final Four at Michigan. Everybody's going to be on a level playing field there. It's usually those types of tracks. It comes down to the ability to be able to carry the most speed through the corners and be able to utilize the draft. So with those two type of tracks coming up, I think Atlanta, a lot of pressure and a lot of what the Final Four is going to look like is really going to be determined by next week's race.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting for sure. Y'all on stream may have just seen the screen go blank for a moment. That's because I did scroll through the chat just to see what it looked like for myself. And yeah, I see what Seth was talking about. Unpleasantries there. I still see them in the same room.
I was noticing that
TeamSpeak.
they've both been in the same room ever since the race came to a close. So with the fact that they've been able to stay in the same room together this long, maybe cooler heads are prevailing and they're talking things out. Obviously, we're gonna have to wait till Atlanta to see if that is the case.
Yeah, I would have to agree, but I mean they're both playoff drivers, both still eligible. So, I mean it's as we were saying before, or even with an incident that occurred at Watkins Glen. If you do retaliate in any way and it's pretty blatant, I mean obviously your championship hopes are going to be over anyway. So it looks like cooler heads might be prevailing, but we'll just have to wait and see. Excitement.
We're not even halfway through the playoffs. Don't make an enemy now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, excitement! I love it. You don't love seeing people fight, but it's like I said. I mean, drama's TV, so don't condone it. Don't go intent wrecking people just for TV. Don't do it.
Okay.
Yeah, unit. But that was a lot of fun. Every single race. I feel like this is me after every single race. Whenever I'm saying that's a lot of fun, and thank you all for being a part of it, because it is. Every single one of these has led to a lot of excitement and a lot of fun. So, Blake, Seth, hoping to have you guys back next week in Atlanta. I know that Goss was expressing interest in maybe commentating. Maybe I'll get someone else in here for one of the other races. But having you two in here is so much fun, and I really appreciate you both.
Thank you. It's been it's honestly a big joy to be in the commentators booth this year, and I'll personally say for my own sake, just even outside of commentating, just online, it's definitely making me wonder a little bit about my future. Maybe wanting to try and do some studying and see if to actually try and get a degree in communication. So it's definitely invigorated a passion of mine that I've had for a long time, and it's been a lot of fun doing this. So yeah, thank you for having me, just on both fronts, really.
Yeah, definitely been a blast. Obviously, I wish I would have joined in with you guys here earlier on in the season, see how this culminates, but to kind of see how the playoffs got put together late in the regular season and how they've been formulating here to determine our Final Four. Been some incredible racing, and been an honor to be a part of it.
I mean, hey, you know that you've left your mark when apparently broadcasting some races for an NR league, maybe shaping a potential career path for our own Blake Warren here. but now again, great fun having you guys. Natan, we've had you for a few races. It's been a big blast having you. Tristan Allen, I had him for a race. Andrew Lemke even popped in here a couple times. It's just been a blast, and of course Shane Sides, thank you, man, for letting me do this. It's going to be a really fun Final Four races. Really stoked for Atlanta. I can't tell you how stoked I am, especially after tonight. So, but on that note, though, thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you to all the drivers. Great show. Again, thank you, Blake. Thank you, Seth. And on that note, though, I'm toast.
Take care. And bye for now.
You freaking.
Hey, you said it was toast, so I'm helping you out here.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Said he was toast and Natan's buttering him up.
Let me just say
Make
this.
of that what you will.
That little ending there, that was a listen, hear you little shit moment. That was what I was feeling.
Oops, we caught that on stream. Take care, bye for now.